Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano, Monday, April 15th. Ian Cameron and my usual partner, Connor Mack, with you, ready to break down the Monday slate of action. We've got an MLB card, full MLB card here for Monday. We'll also talk a little NBA play-in tournament. Yes, get that regular season bullshit out of here and this injury stuff and this who's out, who's in, who cares. None of that anymore applies. The good stuff is here now in the NBA, starting tomorrow night with the NBA play-in tournament. We'll start in MLB, so we'll get right into it. CMAC will begin with Minnesota, Baltimore, Twins and Orioles. We've got the Orioles minus 130, home favorites, 9 the total in this game. Louis Varland and Cole Irvin is your pitching matchup here in this one. Louis Varland on the mound for the Twins. He hasn't had a good start to the year. 2 April starts, 9 runs, 13 hits, 9 innings of work, 0-2. The Twins in his 2 starts, losses to the Dodgers and the Brewers. So it's been a rough beginning to the season for Louis Varland. 5 walks in his first 2 starts and 3 long balls allowed, 3 homers. So problems with the home run ball for Louis Varland as well. You counter that with Cole Irvin, and this is a guy that's pretty high on my bet against list as far as pitchers are concerned, too, for Baltimore. 9 runs and 14 hits allowed in just 10 innings of work this season for the Orioles against the Royals and the Red Sox, struggling in both of those games. And it is worth noting the one concern I do have in this game, though, from a Minnesota standpoint, against left-handed pitching, they're only hitting 204, and they're only averaging 3.8 runs per game. That does bother me because I do want to bet this game over the total. I don't trust either pitcher. The Twins have scuffled offensively, though, especially against lefties. That is a bit of a concern against the lefty Irvin here, but this is a pretty bad lefty with the way he has pitched so far this season. Again, this Twins lineup, other than the 11-run outburst against Detroit in that 4-game series, they've been held to pretty much 3 runs or less in 7 of their last 9 games. So they haven't been great offensively, but if they're ever going to get right for one night, maybe it's against Cole Irvin and this Orioles team tonight. So right now I don't have a bet on anything, but I do lean to the over here, over 9 with the Twins and the Orioles. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, Varland, I think a little bit they think he might pitch well here tonight, but I'm not so sure after kind of the bad first couple outings. This is a guy Harvard was very good in the minors. It was all right, I guess, last year. Irvin on the other side, there's a few guys that hit him well, like Vasquez, 6 for 12, Margot, when I was going through the numbers. So you think, can they get some runs? But the Twins have just been tough to trust. You talked about it. God, it's just not been easy. Because when I looked at it, it seems like over here, this hasn't moved. I finally see a couple spots move to 9.5, but now in the last half hour. So that was good because I was wondering where a lot of people were. These guys would both give up some runs. So I wanted nothing to do with this. Baltimore about to get swept. They had a big game yesterday, came back and won. And I like him here. It's just Irvin as a favorite. Don't really want. And I believe the Orioles team total is 5.5, right? I mean, it's plus money. But that I was looking at earlier. Let me double check. No, you have 4.5. Sorry, 4.5 minus 120. I'd kind of just stick to that side. I think they could get 5 runs, but I had to be off here.
All right. Nothing wrong with that. I'm a little hesitant with the over. I think I'll probably end up sprinkling on it, but I got to admit these Twins struggles offensively, especially against lefties, do worry me a little bit. But Irvin's just not been good. So you just got to hope that today's the day they can hit a lefty for a change here in this game tonight. All right. Next up, we've got San Francisco and Miami. Kyle Harrison, the lefty for San Francisco. And it was going to be A.J. Puck, but the Marlins, I think, have decided, we got to get the Puck out of here right now because he hasn't been pitching very well for the Marlins. It's Edward Cabrera, who's a very familiar name. He's been with the Marlins now a couple of years. He's got electric stuff. Sometimes, though, he can get hit. Sometimes he gets a little wild control and command, but he does have good stuff. And Edward Cabrera will get the nod here tonight in this game. Now the starter for Miami. Pretty much a pick 'em here, minus 110, 8.5 the total here in this game. Obviously, for the Miami Marlins, what a horrible, horrible beginning to the season. 3-13, they are just 1-9 here at Marlins Park. Talk about having 0 home field advantage. I mean, they've just been absolutely terrible here on their home field. Actually, they should consider themselves fortunate, that they at least got a win out of the Atlanta Braves over the weekend. But yeah, obviously it's been a rough season for this Miami team. The bullpen's been bad. A lot of the pitching's been bad, and the offense just hasn't been consistent. We'll see what Cabrera delivers for them. On the flip side, you've got Harrison for San Francisco. He hasn't been great himself either. 7 runs, 11 hits in 11 innings pitched against the Dodgers and the Nats in his first 2 starts. I don't know. I kind of think, it's kind of feels like you got to hold your nose and bet a really bad team, but at least in the first 5, I kind of lean to Miami here a little bit. I mean, I kind of like Cabrera. I certainly like him a lot more than Puck. With Puck as the starter, I was thinking maybe bet over in this game. But now with Cabrera on the mound for Miami, who I definitely think has better starter stuff than AJ Puck does, maybe we can look at the Marlins here, first 5. Obviously, if you're taking Miami, you've got to take first 5. You don't want any part of this Marlins bullpen, and they showed you why yesterday. Terrible blown lead against Atlanta in that game yesterday. Their bullpen is pitching to a 5.88 ERA here early in the season, which is just absolutely awful. So, yeah, I definitely lean Marlins first 5 here now with Cabrera, the new starting pitcher for them. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Well, good luck. I don't know how you want to really bet this game. I'd look the other way. And not that I'm crazy about it. I'd be on the Giants in this one. And what do we get? The good Cabrera, the bad. He's been pretty good in AAA, but it seems like that's his thing. Bring him down. He'll pitch well down there, go 5-6 innings, only give up a run or two. He comes up, walks people, and gets hit. And he's been pretty average like that his whole career, above a 4 ERA. So I'm off here. I'd be on the Giants. I think the bats are a little bit hotter in this game. Look to Conforto or Soler here, the props too in this one if you want anything.
Yep, definitely. Like I say, ugly game, but I'm trying to throw out at least a lean in all of these games, even if I'm not betting it. And like I said, I think Miami first 5. There's a little value on them now with Cabrera, who's a better option, I think, for them than AJ Puck. All right, we got next up Colorado and Philadelphia. It is Cal Quantrill and Aaron Nola. And Nola. I haven't been able to sing that one for a while. We've got the Phillies here, minus, what is it, 250, 260 home favorites, 9 the total here in this game. You look at Cal Quantrill, and it's very, very difficult to put your money behind this guy right now with what we've seen. 3 starts for the Rockies, 12 runs, 21 hits in just 15 innings given up by Cal Quantrill this year for the Colorado Rockies. I'd like to support the guy. He's Canadian, but my goodness, he's been terrible here for Colorado early in the season. Meanwhile, Nola, pretty the last 2 starts have been very good against Washington and St. Louis. 2 runs, 5 hits in his last 11.2 innings. Bounced back strong from a dreadful first start against the high potent powered off Atlanta Braves, giving up 7 runs in that start. So much better for Nola the last 2 starts. That being said, he's been kind of shaky against Colorado. Last year, he gave up 7 runs, 10 hits in 14 innings. It's okay. It's not great. We'll see if Colorado can hit Nola even just a little bit, because you look at this Rockies team, and they did have a 12-run outburst against the Blue Jays in the series opener at Rogers Center the other night, and then the offense kind of dissipated after that. But they did have to face Barrios yesterday, who's by far the best pitcher the Jays have had so far this year. So, if we can get anything out of the Rockies, it opened 8.5, and I grabbed over 8.5. It's up to 9 now. And I do think the wind's blowing out just a little bit too at Citizens Bank Ballpark tonight. I think get over. I think this has the makings of a 6-3 game, something like that, in favor of the Phillies. I think that they're definitely going to do some damage, I think, against the Rockies, struggling Quantrill, and that bullpen's not great either. But I think the Rockies might be able to chip in a little bit here themselves. So that's the way I'd approach it here. Obviously, I think the Phillies have the edge starting pitching, but hard to find the value. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, Cal Quantrill, man, it's been rough for him. He's got to pitch well on the road. They don't get any runs for him on the road. And then at home, he's probably going to get bashed. Well, they'll support him, but the ERA will be ballooned. That was a solid game, because it's tough to pick these spots where the Rockies will swing the bats on the road. But maybe they could get to Nola. There's some decent numbers through some of these guys. One of the hottest guys, McMahon. I've been all around. I like he's in the 3-hole today. His RBI is plus 220 in this 3-hole. And he's only 3 for 15. There's a few better numbers, Charlie Blackman, a couple others, but he's been their hottest hitter. So look to him. I'll be on a piece of him in this game. And you mentioned that was a great number getting the 8.5 because 9's so big with me. We're going to get to the other games where it's 10.5. It's such a big deal. 7-2, 9-2, you at least get the push, or like you have the 8.5, you get the W in that one. Because I think the Phillies, and one thing, the Phillies team total to 5.5 here, plus 115. Look for a 5, I think, just in case. Yeah, you probably get minus 110. It won't be too crazy, just in case they get the 5. But this seems like a game, and the Rockies, they haven't won in Philly. It seems like years. I think they're, I don't know, in the last 10 they've won once. There, it hasn't been good for them at all, the Rockies. So Phillies laying the big number. I just looked team total, and I agree with you. I think I might have a little on this over 9.
Here's why I'm concerned about Nola, even though he's been a little bit better the last 2 starts. His velocity's down. His swing and strike rate is down. And apparently his stuff has actually declined a little bit if you look at the advanced numbers. It hasn't shown up yet because his last 2 starts, he did okay. But these are things that if it continues this way, he's not going to keep pitching like he did the last 2 starts. It'll look more like it did against Atlanta when they rocked him for 7 runs in that game. So I'm a little worried about Nola, and that's why I think the Rockies can do enough. Like if the Rockies get 3 or 4 in this game, it's probably going over the total because Philadelphia is going to be able to do the rest offensively in this one. All right, we got Texas, Detroit, Lorenzen and Olson, the pitching matchup here. Of course, Lorenzen, new member of the Rangers. Olson, minus 120 home favorites, 8.5 the total. I like Reese Olson. I'm kind of willing to give him a little bit of a pass for the last start that he had, and it was a tough one for him because I believe in his stuff. I think he's got good stuff. Obviously, against Pittsburgh, it was a rough night for him. 6 runs, 9 hits in just 4.1 innings. But before that, he was very good against the Mets, shut him down in 5.2 innings. And going back to last year, Connor, his last 3 September starts, he gave up 2 runs or less. So I still think he's a good pitcher, good stuff, good enough. I definitely lean Tigers here a little bit. I understand why they've taken some money here in this game. They've off to a surprising 9-6 start. They played competitive baseball so far. Texas has been kind of up and down. They enter this series struggling quite a bit. They lose 2 of they split the Houston series last weekend, but they lose 2 of 3 to Oakland, and then they lose 2 of 3 over the weekend in Houston against the Astros. So they're not necessarily playing great at the moment. Just a 500 team, the defending World Series champions at this moment. Lorenzen had a neck injury in spring training. He made 3 rehab starts down in Round Rock, so this will be his first major league start. We'll see how he fares here. But what I remember about Lorenzen is down the stretch against Philadelphia, it was of his tenure with Philadelphia, it wasn't pretty for him. So I've got my questions. This guy's only pitched in Round Rock. He's coming off a neck injury. He didn't exactly pitch great down the stretch last season. So that's why I think Detroit can take this game, at least early. Definitely like maybe a look at the Tigers' first 5, maybe a full game split as well. But I still think Olson's capable of a bounce back here. I mean, that was really Olson's first bad start in his last 6 going back to last year. And that start against Pittsburgh his last time out. I still think he's capable of better and bouncing back. So for me, it would be Tigers or nothing here. What do you think, Connor?
This is flipped. So if you got on it early, that was the move with the Tigers. We've talked about the last couple of weeks. I'm going to be on more of Olson. When he keeps going out there, it's like he's going to give up 3 or 4. It just seems like automatic, though, in this game. And on the other side, I think the Tigers could get some runs. Lorenzen, a walk machine. I mean, that's the tough thing. If you look at this now, you think of taking the Rangers at a plus price. So I get the move, especially if you got it early here with the Tigers. Just now as faves, I got to stay off. One thing I got to take here, it looks like there's no Seager here with the lineup today. That's out. Josh Smith in the 5-hole, take his RBI. One thing, he's hitting 300. I think he's got 9 or 10 ribbies. He's right behind Garcia. Give me that big price with the ribby there for Josh Smith.
There you go. Like an RBI there for Josh Smith or Connor Mack in this one. All right, we move along to another American League matchup: Angels and Rays down at the Trop. Patrick Sandoval, the lefty for the Angels. Zach Eflin for Tampa Bay. The Rays minus 160 home favorites here, 8 the total in this game. Zach Eflin, there was a lot of expectation. Hell, he was the opening day starter for the Rays to begin the season, but hasn't exactly been smooth sailing for him. 2 of his starts have been rough. The first start against Toronto, opening day, was 6 runs, 5.2 innings. He did bounce back against Texas, pitched very well. But then he goes on the road to the Angels 1 week ago, 5 runs, 9 hits, 5 innings. But now he's back in Tampa, Zach Eflin. And this is consistently, since he's been with this Rays team, this is where he's pitched his best here at Tropicana Field. So I think he'll pitch better. And I don't trust Sandoval necessarily for the Angels. You look at his numbers coming into this game. He's given up 11 runs in just 11 innings. That's not what you want to see by any stretch of the imagination. Rays, by the way, a solid 247 and 5 runs per game against lefties this season. And I think when you look at this spot as well for Tampa Bay, the way they're playing, 4-1 their last 5 games, a rough start. The only game they lost to the Angels when they played the Angels out in the West Coast was that Eflin start where he struggled. But I think he's got to bounce back in him. What I would do is I'd probably consider 3 bets here, spread it out evenly among all 3. Little Rays first 5 run line -0.5, a little Rays full game maybe -1, and also maybe a little Rays team total here in this game as well. I don't know if I trust the Angels to hit Eflin. I think Eflin will make his adjustments facing the Angels the second time around, especially at home where he's more comfortable. But I do think the Rays can do some damage against Sandoval and the Angel pen. So I'm going to go with that spread out across all 3 bets evenly. Rays first 5 run line, Rays full game run line, the -1, and the team total over for Tampa as well. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it too. This seems like a very good Eflin at home start for him, especially the couple he had early on the road. And you know what? Sandoval can give some good starts on the road as well. This seems like he could give up a couple. You mentioned the Rays against lefties have been pretty good. I looked through their lineup. A little bit the issue here, I'm just trying to cut that out unless I really love it. And look, it worked out yesterday with the D-backs catching 5 in the bottom of the 5th. That's not always going to work out. I just try to not take too many -0.5s, at -115, and that's what the Rays are. But that's what I like in this one here too. I think they can get to him. And I just don't know what we get from Sandoval today. I think Eflin will be good. Maybe an Angels team total under. Sandoval's pretty good. I was looking at the first 5 under 4.5, a little bit -110. One guy, they don't think he's going to have anything here, but it's hard to jump off his wagon on this prop, Bobano, and that's Ward. I mean, he just keeps hitting,
Yeah.
and he's 4 for 6 off Eflin. Small sample. But his RBI is +200. I don't know how you don't, take that and put a little on the homer, how hot he's been. And he's been great for me. He's cashing like crazy. Maybe this is the game. I mean, leaving that price out there seems like he's due for one on the road, a stink, but I think you got to take it.
Yeah, we talk about how, Mike Trout needs a little support here on this Angels team, especially with Ohtani no longer there. And Taylor Ward's done his part.
He's got to stay healthy though. Like he is going to get hurt, but so far Rendon. I don't know. The guy doesn't want to play baseball, and the rest of this lineup's pretty tough.
Yeah,
day in and day out, it's ugly. 5 through 9, so they really need him.
Yes, no doubt they do. No question. All right, we move along to the Yankees and the Blue Jays next up. Luis Gil on the mound and that is Hill, by the way, even though it's a G, it's pronounced Hill. Luis Gil against Chris Bassett here in this matchup. We've got the Blue Jays slight home favorites here, -115, 8.5 the total in this game. Now, it was against the Rockies, so let's calm down, but still it was a home series win. Same thing with Seattle. I mean, they had a rough start to the season, the Blue Jays. A lot of it, tough schedule, right? You start the season with Yankees, Astros, and Rays all on the road. That's pretty tough. That's a tough 3 teams to start all on the road. Now they've come back home, a little weaker competition, stepped down in class, and they've gone 4-2 so far on this homestand to get themselves back to 500, 8-8. Luis Gil did not pitch against the Blue Jays Actually, he did. It was Bassett that didn't pitch against the Yankees when they met at Yankee Stadium. Hill did face the Blue Jays at Yankee Stadium. 2 runs, 2 hits, 4.1 innings, but he had big-time control issues, 4 walks in that start against the Blue Jays. Bassett, really rough first 2 starts against the Rays and the Astros, but he did bounce back here at Rogers Center. 1 run, 6.2 innings against Seattle. He's a guy that usually does pitch better at home as opposed to on the road since he's been a member of the Jays. So, but I don't know if I want to take the Jays at this price. And even though Bassett's been a little bit better at home, Yankees obviously, and it's worth noting too with the Yankees, it's something that's worth mentioning here is that they had to play a doubleheader Saturday, and they played, of course, yesterday against Cleveland, a wild 8-7 game. They had to use a lot of relief pitching over the weekend. Schmidt only went 5 innings. Poteet only went 6. Cortez only went 4 innings against Cleveland. So a lot of usage out of their bullpen and no day off. They go right from Cleveland here to Toronto for this game. So if you like the Yankees, this might be first 5 if you prefer them. What do you think here in this one, Connor?
Yeah, we always see with these, some of these innings, but the game could be lower scoring, but I just worry some could break out here with both lineups, even though the Jays have really been struggling. I know they got some runs here the last couple against the Rockies, but a lot of chatter, which I think you're hearing up there, this lineup, and all those guys not swinging the bat, Springer, Bichette, Vladdy.
So, what else is new with Vladdy? Same old, yeah.
I know. He's got to get going.
Yep.
I think this is just a value play. You got to take the Yankees. Just the better team right now.
Better record.
Plus even money. This is one that could bite you, but I think it's just one you have to take. I think Bassett's going to be bet on down the line, but I just don't want him today. Until those bats wake up, no way.
All right, Pirates and Reds now or not Pirates and Reds, Pirates and Mets, I should say. Next up, we've got the Martin Perez for the Pirates, Adrian Hauser for the Mets. Minus 125 or so, minus 130 for the Mets here at Citi Field as home favorites. The total 8.5 across the board in this one. I don't trust Martin Perez fully. I just don't. And I know for Pitt, we've seen this guy for years, and but I will give him. I will say this about him: he's pitched better so far this season. He had a rough finish to last year, then got hurt, but he has given up just 4 runs this year in 18 innings for the Pirates. I don't know if that's going to continue indefinitely. Adrian Hauser for the Mets, he's not someone I've been on board with trusting fully either. 5 runs, 8 hits in his last start, albeit against a very tough Atlanta lineup. He did pitch well before that, just giving up the 1 earned run against Detroit in his start before that. So we'll see how he fares here in this one. Hauser against the Pirates. He does know the Pirates well because he was in Milwaukee all those years, and he faced Pittsburgh a lot as a divisional foe. And he actually pitched pretty well for the most part against the Pittsburgh Pirates when he was with Milwaukee. And on the flip side, Perez against the New York Mets, his numbers are actually not that bad either. 6 runs, 3-0 for him in his 3 starts in the past against the New York Mets. Although nothing was before 2022. So you're talking about a sample size of a couple years ago or longer. So I don't know, just a very, very tricky game. I don't fully trust Perez, but I will accept that he's pitched well against the Mets in the past and that he does have good numbers so far this year. So it's going to be a pass for me. I think I'm just I think in this I prefer to back Hauser in this over Perez, but not at this price and not with look. I'm going to wait to see if Perez hits a speed bump before I jump in and bet against him. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, I think that's why you stick with him here. Not a crazy number, right around plus 110, plus 105 with Perez. The bats have woken up for the Mets, but I don't trust them, really. There's a few guys to look at, Marte and a few others, if you're looking for props that have good numbers off Perez. But Hauser, I back game 1 and the under. And he's been a guy I've gone to back when he was with the Brewers in spots and has looked good. But average guy, I don't know what we get from them. I just think there's a little value here, especially first 5 with the Pirates.
All right, first 5 with the Pirates. And look, I like what I've seen out of this Pirates team. I think definitely throw the pitching out, pure value, Pirates for sure. Like 11-5, 8-3 on the road. I think their offense is a lot better than it's been in the past. Brian Hayes has been outstanding here early in the season. So there's lots to like with the Pirates. And, I worry about this being like last year and then they shit the bed and they fall
Oh
apart.
yeah,
But
I'll
right
jump
now,
off them.
yeah,
Yeah, too. No problem, because
this is
I
what
think
they
they'll
do.
lose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is what they do. The first month, they're a house of fire, and they're doing it once again right now, no doubt. All right, next up, we've got the San Diego Padres taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Joe Musgrove and Joe Ross, the battle of the Joes here in this one. We've got right now Milwaukee, slight home favorite, 8.5 being the total here in this game. I know Joe Musgrove wasn't right going into that first start against San Francisco against the Dodgers, and he pitched like it. And he wasn't all that much better against San Francisco the second start, still struggled, 8 hits. That's the thing that's alarming about Musgrove. He's given up a lot of hard contact. 4 starts, this guy has already given up 25 hits. 25 hits in 4 starts, and that's a span of what? 5, 7, 13, 17 or 18 innings, and he's given up 25 hits. When you've pitched 18 innings and your hits allowed are going way over your innings pitched, you got problems. You're giving up too much hard contact. So it's very difficult for me to get to the betting window with the Padres with Joe Musgrove on the mound right now for them. Meanwhile, Milwaukee, look, let's give this Brewers team credit. 4-1 in their last 5 games. They took 2 of 3 on the road against a good Baltimore team over the weekend. Almost swept them, but the bullpen blew it yesterday in the series finale. They will send, of course, Joe Ross to the mound. And am I the biggest Joe Ross fan? Not necessarily, but his 2 starts so far against the Reds and the Twins, only 2 earned runs in 10 innings so far. He has had some walk issues, but he's also had 10 strikeouts. So he's shown some pretty good hit and miss, swing and miss stuff early on in the season. Now you're going to go back to 2021-22 and see that Musgrove in his 3 career starts in the past against Milwaukee, he's dominated them, but it was a long time ago when he faced the Milwaukee Brewers. I lean Milwaukee here. I do. I just at least what I might do here instead of the money line, team total with Milwaukee here. I think that's good. Isolate the Musgrove matchup because it, to me, still doesn't look right. Brewers can get to their team total, I think. So that's the approach for me, looking at the Brew Crew over their team total tonight. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, Brewers just kind of lose that game. We were off the top with the Orioles after a couple wins, and it looked pretty good to start the year. Little travel, but I think this is just the best time. Musgrove hasn't been great, and they have a huge win against the Dodgers late, and now they got to go to Milwaukee. I don't trust the pitchers. Like this seems like a perfect snooze first 5 under a little bit to me, but the trust with these guys, it just makes me pump the brakes. This is flipped. Padres, this is steam all the way to the Brewers. It's Brewers or nothing here. It's tough to go with Ross a little bit, even at minus 110, 115, but yeah, it's got to be them, I believe.
Yeah, I think, like I say, I lean Brewers, but I think I feel a little bit safer with the team total, just in case Ross can be a bit of a wild card. Not that he can't pitch well, but the team total, you take that equation out, and then all you have to rely on is the offense and the lineup to do their damage against the pitcher, and that's what's great about betting team totals in MLB. All right, next up, we've got Kansas City and the Chicago White Sox. Lugo and Nick Nastrini on the mound here for the White Sox tonight. In this one, we've got Seth Lugo and the Royals minus 160 road favorites. Look at this total. It opened 9. It's all the way down to 8. So we've seen a full run down as far as the total is concerned. Even though the White Sox, believe it or not, 4-1 to the over in their last 5 games. The Royals, though, have been an under machine. 4 of their last 5 games have gone under. They've scored, but their pitching's been very good. And part of the solid pitching has been Seth Lugo, man. What can you say? 3 runs in 18 innings against the Twins, the White Sox, and the Astros to begin his season. So he's been very solid, more than solid for the Kansas City Royals, Seth Lugo. And Nastrini, we'll see what he brings to the table, obviously making a spot start here from the White Sox. Whenever the White Sox have a younger guy making a spot start, I know for a fact there's very little quality pitching depth in this organization. So I'm always leery of what this kind of a pitcher is going to do when he's getting a spot start. It's not like there's a bunch of blue chip prospects waiting in the wings as far as pitching goes for this White Sox team. So the Royals probably win. Maybe a run line play might be worth a look here, but hard to find the value. But I definitely I don't want this underdog. I know that. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, I can't take the White Sox as a dog. Like, I'll look at their team total under a little bit, 3.5 at -150. Yeah, no way with that. Even though they might not get 4 here today. Lugo's been good. We talked about the success early with him in his career, and it's been showing. Nostrini, I don't know. He in his couple AAA starts, he didn't look good so far this year. 2 starts over 7 ERA. He should give up a few. It's like, are you ready to lay this number with the Royals, or go run line with him? I think you do. That's what I'd lean to in this. It's them or pass, which is wild. I want to look for a dog, and the White Sox. There's been a couple. I haven't been on them yet. There's been a couple days have been close, and they've gotten a couple wins, but I got to see a little bit more to be on them, because I think they need to be a bigger price. Yeah. I don't know if there's enough value like here today, even against the Royals.
No, actually, all things considered, you get -0.5 at a somewhat decent number. You could go that route potentially if you like the Royals here in this one tonight. All right, next up, we've got the Atlanta Braves taking on the Houston Astros. Nice AL versus NL matchup here. Darius Vines and Spencer Spaghetti Arrighetti for the Houston Astros in this one. We've got Atlanta, pretty much a pick 'em here. Even money. Actually, the Braves a slight road favorite. 10.5 being the total here in this game. You look at the numbers of Vines here, making this spot start here for the Atlanta Braves. We'll see how he fares. He's a 3.98 ERA last year, recalled from Gwinnett down in AAA here. He is the 14th ranked prospect in the Braves organization, so it's not like he's really high up there. I know for 2 starts down in AAA this year, 3.75 ERA. Does have good swing and miss stuff. 11 strikeouts in 12 innings down there at the minor league level. Can he duplicate that here in the big leagues? Ends up being the question. Meanwhile, Arrighetti here for Houston. He got the spot start last time against Kansas City, and it was rough. 7 runs, 7 hits, 3 innings. Hard to trust him to do anything of quality when you saw him just get absolutely crushed by the in his first start by the Kansas City Royals. Vines is a bit of a wild card, though. I don't know what to fully expect. People are hammering the over. I don't hate it, because I know I don't trust Arrighetti against this very solid Braves lineup, but I don't know if Vines has the resume, a prospect ranking, all of this stuff to say, you know what, this is a guy that's just going to go out there and mow them down against a Houston lineup that, look, this Houston lineup has not started the season great, but maybe they're waking up a little bit, because suddenly you look at the way they swung the bats against Texas, and what did they put up? 25 runs in the 3 games in that series, suddenly 5 straight overs for the Houston Astros. So I think I could only look at the over as far as this game goes. And the betting markets seem to agree, because this total opened 9.5. It went to 10, and now it's all the way up to 10.5. So there is clearly a lot of respect for the over here in this game. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, if you got in early, that's good. Even the 10.5, I think we get runs. Vines right now a little bit you feel more comfortable with, even though I don't know what we're getting. He's going to have to pitch with Strider a lot longer. Arrighetti, we mentioned his last start. I don't know what we get. You mentioned the swing and miss stuff, but he walks a ton of people, and then he leaves up some that just get tattooed.
He still gave up 7 hits there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, his fastball is dead straight and left up the slider. So, runs. I don't know. And props. That'd be the only play in this game. So if you got in early on the over, I think it's good work. When you have these 2 lineups, it's like, just take it with these 2 pitchers. Bullpens, and the Astros have been bad. They've put up a ton of runs, or they've gotten their ass kicked. They've given up a ton of runs and lose 10-2. There's been no consistency, and they're only 6-11 to start the year. Over.
All right, Cubs and Diamondbacks. We've got Ben Brown and Merrill Kelly on the mound here. Diamondbacks minus 150, home favorites, 8.5, 9, the total in this game. Remember that red hot start to the season for Arizona, and they've kind of cooled off a little. Well, they had a brutal week last week. I mean, the Atlanta series, they got swept. They lost the first game in Colorado. They were like on a 5 or 6 game losing streak going back to the Yankee series, but they did win the last 2 in Colorado. They took 2 of 3 from St. Louis at home over the weekend, so starting to get back on track. You won't see me bet against Merrill Kelly at home. That's just something I won't do. He's just been Mr. Rocksteady, Mr. Consistent at home. 3 starts this year. He's given up 4 runs in 19 innings. He's given the Diamondbacks a chance in every game. But man, a minus 150 to lay that kind of a price right now against this Cubs team, I don't think I'm ready to do that either. I mean, the Cubs have been good. Cubs have been a nice moneymaker for me. I took them all 3 games of the Seattle series, won 2 of them. Their pitching is better than you would think. Ben Brown was solid in his first start. So it's one of those deals where I don't want to fade the Cubs. They've been good to me. 9-6 on the, overall this season, but there's no way I go against Merrill Kelly at home. He's just been too good for too long here at Chase Field. So it's an easy pass for me in this one. C-Mac, what do you think?
Hendricks will settle down. I think I'm like a little worried he has a good game. But both teams can hit here. I think you have to take the over. And the Cubs kind of scored some runs, but Mariners just a team that can't score a ton of runs. Yeah, I was on the first 5 yesterday. Too much value. They're giving this Mariners team too much love in the market.
Oh, I was on a
Some of
Cubs
the young
yesterday
pitching.
too. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe the price. Great price. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great price. I don't know what in the end we get here. I just think we get runs. So give me the over.
All right, liking the over here with the Cubs and the Diamondbacks for C-Mac here. All right, St. Louis and Oakland. Sonny, yesterday, my life. Sonny Gray going back to Oakland. Remember, he started his career here years ago with the Oakland Athletics. Now he goes back as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. Ross Stripling on the mound for Oakland. St. Louis minus 180 road favorites here, 7.5 the total. We'll see how this one plays out. Sonny Gray so far for the Cardinals, just the 1 start, but pretty damn good. 5 innings of 5 hits, shutout baseball against Philadelphia, 5 strikeouts, didn't walk a batter in that game. So positive signs for Sonny Gray in his debut with the Cardinals, and he's done very well against his old team. Last year with Minnesota, only gave up 1 run. 2 years ago against the A's, 2 runs in 10 innings. So he does have a good track record against Oakland as well. Meanwhile, Ross Stripling, 2 of his first 3 starts have been pretty rough. The Cleveland start, 5 runs, 5 innings. He did shut down Boston, very impressive after that, bounced back. And then he gave up 6 runs, 11 hits, and 6 innings to Texas in his last start. But he has been a good bounce-back pitcher. With the Jays he was, even before that, he'd have a bad game and he'd come back and pitch a little bit better. And to be quite honest with you, C-Mac, even though he's been a little rocky so far this year, Ross Stripling, can we trust St. Louis to hit? Going back to April 6th, the Cardinals have scored 3 runs or less in 7 of their last 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
That's concerning. They're not hitting right now, St. Louis, at least not consistently. So I don't know if Oakland's going to be, putting up a ton of runs against Gray. I don't know if I trust St. Louis even against Stripling, and at least Stripling's pitching here in Oakland. That spacious confines of this ballpark should help him here a little bit. This could be an under here with the Cardinals and the A's. I lean that way anyway. Price is just too much to lay with St. Louis, because I will say this about Oakland. They've been a scrappy, feisty little ball club. They didn't get the memo that they're supposed to be one of the worst teams. I mean, I've been impressed with the fight in this A's team on a nightly basis here. So I don't want to lay this kind of a price against them. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, this Cardinals team, no way. Stripling's kind of been the one guy that's had some tough luck, 0-3 already. He has some bad numbers against, Arenado's 7 for 15 with a couple doubles on homer, and Goldschmidt. I had the other day his total bases 7 for 19, a couple doubles and 2 homers when they used to see him with the Dodgers. I think they got to move him from the 2-hole. I've even seen an article or 2 from that. I don't know. I think he needs to get 3rd or 4th in that lineup. It just hasn't really worked out. And the rest of the lineup, I can't really trust. I like the A's here. I haven't moved on it, but what's Sonny Gray? All right, and you talked about the under. It's dicey now. The eights are gone. The 7.5s are all there. But yeah, there should be a low scoring tie one.
All right, we got 2 games left in MLB action for this Monday night. We Cincinnati and Seattle is next up. Frankie Montas for the Reds, George Kirby for the Mariners. Seattle minus 150 home favorites, 7 being the total in this game. I don't know what do I have to do? And I know Seattle's 6-10. They're not hitting. It's been a rough go. What are they? Just 2-8 in their last 10 games. Scored what? 7 runs in the 3 games against the Cubs. They're just not hitting. They're not a good offensive team. But I do want to, on occasion, back some of these good pitchers they have, like Logan Gilbert and George Kirby. What do I have to do to get value on them? Like, this is a 6-10 team, and you're telling me I got to lay minus 150 tonight with George Kirby? I can't take it. I can't, even though I want to back Kirby here. I actually kind of like the spot a little bit here for the Mariners to maybe get off the schneid. And Kirby, even though I know he had that first start, which didn't go well against Cleveland, and the Toronto game wasn't great, I still believe in his stuff and that he'll turn it around. But, until I see that, it's tough to, I don't want to jump in on him. And plus, this offense is dormant right now for Seattle. I got to lay minus 150 with them. I can't do it. I just can't. So, it's going to be a pass for me. I don't trust Montas fully, although I will say this about Montas. He has, I guess, somewhat surpassed my expectations. The first 2 starts against the Nats and the Phillies were quite good, but more the Frankie Montas I was expecting the last start. 5 runs, 6 hits, 5 innings against the Brewers. He struggled quite a bit in that game. Yeah, I think from a spot perspective, I think it sets up okay for Seattle, but man, I was not expecting it to be this pricey, and there's no chance I touch Seattle at minus 150 right now. What do you think here, Connor?
With that lineup, that number, no way. Until they start doing something, I don't think you should really put your money on them. There's one guy to look at here in Montas. I just it seems like he gives up 6, or he's really good. He gives up nothing or 1. Ty France has good numbers, and it's done pretty well to start the year. He's always a guy I like to look at when he has good numbers, 6 for 13. His RBI, as long as he's in the 4 hole, it's right at 200. So I know the offense is struggling, but look for him today.
All right, we wrap up. Final game of the Monday card for MLB. The LA Dodgers hosting the Washington Nationals. We've got a lefty here, Mitchell Parker, on the mound for the Nats. Tyler Glasnow for the LA Dodgers. We've got Glasnow and the Dodgers minus 360 to minus 380. Home favorites, 8.5 being the total in this game. Dodgers coming off not a great series or weekend for them against the San Diego Padres, losing 2 of the 3 games, including Sunday Night Baseball last night, 6-3. Now we do talk about sometimes Sunday night to Monday night with playing Sunday Night Baseball. You're a good fade on Monday, but that's usually with travel. That's not the case for the Dodgers. Dodger Stadium, they get to stay there for this series against the Nats. Question is, what are we going to see here from Mitchell Parker getting the start here in this game for the Washington Nationals? He made 1 start for the Red Wings of Rochester in AAA. 1 unearned run in 4 innings. Last year, he was in between AA and AAA, 4.72 ERA. So that's not exactly the ERA that stands out as wow. You're going to go into Dodger Stadium, shut down this Dodgers lineup that should be in kind of a foul mood after dropping 2 of 3 to the San Diego Padres over the weekend. Glasnow obviously has the potential to shut down any lineup he faces. His first few starts with the Dodgers have been pretty damn good overall. 1 run, 6 innings against the Cardinals in his first start. 2 runs over in South Korea against the Padres as well. 3 runs, 6 innings against the Giants. That was the one where he labored a little bit, but he got through it. Got through 6 innings, only giving up 3 runs to the Giants. And then it was a gem from Glasnow against Minnesota last week on the road. 3 hits, 7 innings of shutout ball, no walks, and 14 strikeouts against the Minnesota Twins in that start for Glasnow. So this is one of those spots where Dodgers team total probably is of interest to me. I think if I were to bet anything in this game, that's the way I would approach it. I don't want to trust the Nats lineup to do anything here against Glasnow, but they after a loss to San Diego last night, you're facing a guy that's got middling numbers down in the minors. We know the Nats bullpen isn't great, so yeah, the team total's 5.5 for the Dodgers tonight, but I think they can get to 6 in this kind of a spot. What do you think here in this one, C-Mac?
Nothing. This number's huge. I think the Dodgers. Glasnow's been the one guy who's been sharp.
Yep.
Really has looked good for them, and they desperately need him. Parker, there's not a ton on him. Obviously, this could be a rough go. But Dodgers win tonight. I'll look to the Nats though. Maybe a first 5 here against the Dodgers. Maybe tomorrow or the next game that we're gonna value with them.
Yep.
I was talking I think with Mike. They can't have Winker and Gallo back to back. They cannot have those two guys hit 3 and 4.
No.
Like one has to hit 6 or 7. They just
yeah, better lineup construction than that. I agree. Yep.
They're just two guys who just all or nothing.
Yep.
Winker a little bit better, and they do have a decent eye, but they strike out so much.
Yeah,
just like they gotta kind of break that up. But that was me looking at it the last few days, driving me nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make some good points there with that. Look, you can't have two fucking guys that just swing for the fences, and strike out and hit home runs, and just a lot of feast or famine right now in that lineup, which is and especially when you're going to put those two guys next to each other like that. There's no question about that. That would be concerning, definitely for me. When you look at the way they construct the lineup in that regard. But, nevertheless, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes here tonight in this one. But, yeah, for me, Dodgers, I think Dodgers team total. And I know they've leveled off slightly offensively, but hoping tonight might be one of those situations. But like I said, I mean, we're talking about stuff that's Connor and I are here on this show talking about how you've got two guys that strike out a lot that are somehow placed up there in the lineup in like the 3 or 4 hole. That's exactly what can be so frustrating, about the way some of these guys manage here for these respective teams. And, for Washington, you just got to do a better job just divvying up the lineup better than that. There's no question about that. But then again, when it's all said and done, when you look at that Nationals team, I get it. They like him and he can be a, very charismatic guy at times, but let's not kid ourselves. Davey Martinez at times is not the next Miller Huggins or Tony La Russa or, from a just a genius manager standpoint. I mean, he's to say he's made a few blunders would be an understatement. There's no question about that. All right. Good stuff, CMAC, on the MLB card. Let's turn our attention just briefly to the play-in tournament. I'm going to save most of my analysis actually for tomorrow. I'll be on the show with Ski, Dutch, and Wham. And to be honest with you all, I've done a little bit more digging into these NBA games by then. All I know is that for the NBA play-in tournament, Tuesday we've got the Lakers and Pelicans in the first game, the Warriors and the Kings in the second game. We'll see how they go. Obviously we're going to have to see the injury status, Ingram among others, for the Pelicans in that game. Golden State, Sacramento. Look, I did not like much of what I saw from Sacramento down the stretch. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on Golden State in that game, even though the game's in Sacramento. I did not like what I saw from the Kings down the stretch, and that would concern me going up against Golden State. So as of right now in those two games, it's a wait and see for the Lakers and the Pelicans. But I do kind of lean Pelicans there. I don't love it, though. And I definitely think I'll be on Golden State in the other game on Tuesday. The Tuesday play-in games, Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, I like Golden State. I really just don't. I think it's just money line or nothing. I don't want to lay with a couple points with them. I think you got to do that. The Kings defensively just haven't been good down the stretch. The offense even went all right. I talked about no Monk. I haven't loved, down the stretch with him out. The other game, I think you look to the Pelicans here early. Good first half team. Place should be pumped. I like them early first half. is where they made me a ton of money. And just basically they got to win the first half. I think you got to look at that.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. And the Wednesday play-in tournament games: Atlanta, Chicago, Miami, Philadelphia. I like the over in the Atlanta-Chicago game. I don't know if I trust either of those two teams defensively. I know you should see defense step up a little because it's play-in tournament, season's on the line, but I don't love either defense and what I saw from either team at that end of the court going into it. I know Embiid, obviously is going to be on the floor, but still, I mean, 4.5 with Philadelphia. And what do we know about Miami? At a flip of a switch, snap your fingers, and there's Miami winning games and going on runs in the playoffs. They've done this before. I am not laying 4.5 with a schizo Philly team against a team with the pedigree of a Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Eric Spoelstra. I'm just not doing that. So I would only look Miami in that game plus 4.5. What do you think of the Wednesday games?
Yeah, Philly ripped off 8 wins there to end the year. I'm right with you. These have been good games, but the last 2 years, 6-4, the Heat have beat them, and the other games they've lost have been tight. Sixers have beat them by like 7 and by 4. I just think it's too many as well. Give me the Heat. This is what they want to just coast. They have all the injuries they've dealt with during the regular year, and to be ready to go for this. So I like the 4.5. The other game, I really want nothing to do with it. I was going to look at the player props, man, a little bit tomorrow. I don't want the Bulls at home. Them laying points, no way. And I know it's short, like them maybe to win the game, but I don't love that there. And the Bulls, we'll see what we get with the pace of those two. That game could get over. I need to look at it a little bit more. But yeah, I want nothing on that game early.
All right, good stuff. So there you go. A little look ahead for Connor and I to the NBA play-in tournament taking place the next 2 nights. All right. By the way, before we get to best bets and wrap up the show, C-Mac, I'll get my thoughts on the NHL card and watch the Ice Guys show earlier today to hear all my thoughts and analysis on the NHL card. But this is C-Mac's time to talk a little NHL. What do you like here on this big 8-game slate? There is a chock full of important big-time games tonight involving teams trying to make the playoffs, especially in the East. Detroit, the New York Islanders, Washington, Pittsburgh, all 4 of those teams battling for the final playoff spots. They're all in action tonight. What do you like on the NHL board?
Nashville, Pittsburgh. The thing is, if Pittsburgh just has an off night, especially defense, that game could go over. I worry about because I do kind of like the under 6 when I was going through it today. I haven't moved on it. It's important.
Like the over in that game quite a bit because I don't trust Malkovich. He's just 15.
Well, that's my problem with the under.
Yep.
I just can't get there, so it's just been a lean for me. I think the Wings team total, even that game over 6.5.
Yep.
Habs Red Wings. I think we get over in that game, and they finally have been better at me betting them. And I was just on them so much early, Bobano, a lot of unders. I just stayed off when they were having their struggles, the Kings. Kind of bad. But lately they've been a bit better, been able to trust them. How much the Wild really, want this game. So I think you lay the puck line with the Kings at home.
There you go. Good stuff. I agree. I'm with you there on the Kings. Kings in regulation, okay. Kings in puck line. Kings puck line, either one against Minnesota. I think worth a look. All right, great stuff. Best bets now to wrap up this edition of Bet with Bobano. C-Mac, where are you going for best bet?
Yeah, I think we'll go more into props in the next few days. We'll do the show, especially I love these plus money props. But there's a couple games. Give me the Brewers. I don't trust the Padres. Padres off a big win. Give me the Brew Crew. I got -105. I think they get them today.
There you go. Milwaukee Brewers. And I like Milwaukee too, but I prefer the team total. But I agree. I mean,
you do.
Musgrove, I think worth a look. -110, -115 there in that game. My best bet for this card, lots of good choices on this Monday slate. But I think I'm going to go with that Rockies Phillies over 8.5. I'm going to go with that. I'm worried about the velocity drop in Nola. I'm worried about the swinging strike rate and all that going down so far this year compared to years past. And I think the Rockies' offense has perked up a little bit the last few games. Meanwhile, I think the Phillies do a lot of damage against Quantrill, who's been bad, and the Rockies' bullpen, which is very, very suspect. So Colorado Philly over for me for best bet here for this Monday card. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate it very much. Hit the like button on the way out. 74 live viewers. Connor and I will be here Mondays and Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Bet with Bobano will be back on Wednesday. We'll break down another MLB card as well, and we'll update what we like for those Wednesday NBA games as well on the show. We might even do a little playoff preview, like look ahead to the Saturday, the series that's begin over the weekend too on the Wednesday show.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It'll be the last show of the week. Exactly. So we'll see you again on Wednesday. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll see you again Wednesday. Bet like Tony Soprano. Bet with Bobano. And we will see you again Wednesday for another edition of Bet with Bobano.